It's a midweek night in the late to mid-90s, perhaps a Wednesday. Fluorescent lights bathe everything in the sterile, almost flickering glow of a big box store. Somehow, I've ended up here with my father, both of us out shopping for something I have, by now, completely forgotten. But while I don't remember why we went there, I do remember what I left with. Clutched in my tiny hands while leaving the store that night was a copy of Nintendo and Game Freak's Pokémon Blue. Wide-eyed, mouth open in awe, brain swirling with excitement, I held the thing that would go on to define so much of what I love about video games. Getting that game home, I ripped open the packaging and slid that little intensely blue plastic piece of magic into my big black Play It Loud original brick Game Boy. I had previously borrowed a copy of the Charizard-clad red version from a daycare friend, hence the choice of blue, so I already had an idea of what I was in for. At least I thought I did. I don't know how they did it, but Game Freak really and truly found a way to hijack the brain of a kid in the late 90s with a Game Boy. Pokémon Blue became my life, became all I thought about, became all we talked about at school. Me and everyone I knew were ensnared like the rest of the world in true Pokemania. Many touted it as a fad that wouldn't last, something we'd all grow out of. Yet here I am over 20 years later, still finding myself intrigued by every new title in the series, regardless of how much they might ultimately let me down. And why has that endured? Despite the ups and downs of the mainline series as of late, why do I still care? For a long time, I thought it was mainly nostalgia, something slowly fading over time, and that may be entirely true. But I also believe it's something a little more than that. As a kid, you were often limited in how you move about the world, but Pokemon offered something more. It offered adventure, true adventure, and despite being represented with little repeating tiles of pixels on what was essentially a calculator that played games, that sense of adventure got through. The world of Pokemon was fantastical, sure. Who lets a 10-year-old take up animal husbandry and travel the countryside getting into what are ostensibly dogfights? But Pokemon are not real animals. They are Pokemon, pocket monsters, and they are everywhere, and I wanted to find them, and catch them, and train them, and battle them, and I wanted to do it over and over again, going through AA batteries faster than a Gatling gun runs through bullets, their lifeless husks hitting the ground as I reloaded for another hot salvo of gaming bliss. I was hooked on this loop of discovery, wonder, collecting, and battling. The point of the original game was to fill the Pokédex for Professor Oak while challenging the gym leaders so you can enter the Pokémon League and become the top trainer of all of Kanto. Filling the Pokédex and catching them all is the MacGuffin for your adventure, the various gyms and trainers acting as smaller, more accomplishable goals to fence post your journey. The overall quest feeds into your gym trials, the collecting into the battling. The more Pokemon you seek out, the more you find, the more experience you get, the stronger your team, and so on and so on. There are no wasted parts. It's a little Swiss watch of a game that completely hooks into your brain like a parasite. Me and my friends were so completely high on the Pokemon supply that the games and all Game Boys got banned from class, daycare, wherever we were. That didn't stop us though. Those Game Boys were always on us, ready at the very moment an adult wasn't watching to flick that switch and get in a couple of battles or hunt for that elusive Mew our friend had said was behind the truck next to the SS Ant-Man, really, I promise. We played our carts until the wheels came off. With the introduction of Gold and Silver in 2000, Pokemania was renewed amongst my friends. It was truly a step up, and although we knew it was a big step, I didn't realize until I was an adult how much they actually crammed into that game, let alone that this cramming was done with some legendary help from late Nintendo head Satoru Iwata. To quickly summarize, Gold and Silver took what was great about Red and Blue, that sense of adventure and core loop, and improved upon it in every way. There were new Pokemon, you could re-challenge trainers. The game had an internal clock, which meant there was a day-night cycle and day-specific events. Pokemon breeding became a thing. Your Pokemon could now equip items to help in battle, and oh yeah, the map from Red and Blue was also in the game, and you could battle all the old gym leaders again. Last but not least, you could fight the legendary trainer Red, the main character from Red and Blue, on top of Mount Silver. To call Gold and Silver monumental to Poké fans the world over would be an understatement. The game was now more immersive than ever, and though I was older, I drank deep from the Pokémon Cup once again and for a long time. After Gold and Silver, there were others, sure. And I know a lot of people have intense love for Gens 3, 4, 5, and so on. And I do too, I played them all. But I don't want to focus on those. While I believe those games are great and hold a special place to some people because they were their first Pokemon games, and I would never take that away from someone, to me they were more Pokemon games in the established creature battling genre. The formula was set in stone. The games improved upon this in an iterative fashion, sure, but still seemed to stray from truly capturing that sense of wonder, curiosity, and adventure that made them so addictive to me originally. So let's skip ahead a bit. In 2020, at the height of the coronavirus pandemic, I finally gave in and bought Pokémon Sword, the first mainline game I didn't get as soon as it was available. I saw the backlash, the middling reviews, the Reddit threads, and I thought, maybe it's finally lost its magic hold on me, I'll pass. But as one does, I got curious. And honestly, I dug it. Yeah, it was on rails, yeah, the graphics were not amazing, yeah, it was a bit easy, yeah, they scaled back dungeons and caves. But as someone in their late 20s with a full-time job, I liked my Pokemon vacation in the Galar region. I liked the UI, I liked the music, I liked Pokemon Sword because I felt it respected my time, didn't require a big commitment, and because the world felt like it was falling apart, I liked that its world was pleasant and nice. It was a relaxing stroll through a world filled with some familiar friends. It was video game chicken soup. Plus, it had the wild area. And I know people got a lot to say about the wild area, so let me get in here. Yes, it was underwhelming, but there was something there. There was a hint of the promise of the dream Pokemon Blue sold me in my youth. There was a sparkle in that metaphorical eye, and I wasn't the only one who saw it. The DLC improved upon this even more, but still seemed to miss the mark for many. We all thought it was Game Freak having no idea what they were doing with the series. I mean, Breath of the Wild had come out. Are they living under a rock? Pokemon needs a Breath of the Wild. But we pretty much figured that would never happen. And honestly, who can blame us? We didn't have a whole lot of evidence from past examples to get our hopes up. Then, as if out of nowhere, Pokémon Legends Arceus was announced in February 2021, and people were not into it. The graphics looked bad, it looked barren, boring. Pokemon animations shown in the footage were terrible. The fact that battles took place on the map was cool, but that did little to settle people's fears. And I'll be honest, I was totally a detractor. I openly said I thought it was going to be bad, okay at best. The graphics worried me, the frame rate worried me, the fact that almost up until its launch, no one knew literally anything about the core loop of gameplay worried me. I wanted so badly for it to be good or at least worth playing, despite all evidence to the contrary. Then the embargo lifted. Reviews came out. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Some mixed reviews in there too, sure, but reception was positive. It was good. The new Pokemon game, the one I was worried about, the one I thought would signal to me that it was time to move on and finally leave this series to the dustbin of childhood memorabilia, was not only just good, but a breath of fresh air and the best in the series for some time. I couldn't believe it, but I instantly ordered a copy, all the while soaking up as much info as I could about the game. And then it came. I finally had it in my hands. I booted it up and I can't really describe it. Look, despite the reviews, the technical shortcomings of this game are obvious. I don't know what could have been done, what should have been done, or what Game Freak can do going forward to fix this, but the game is not exactly up to what many would consider AAA polish, even for a Switch game in today's day and age. But the loop. That wonderful, magical core loop. In this game, you are once again filling out the Pokedex. This time, though, as we are technically in the distant past when Sinnoh was called Hisui and was not fully settled yet, you are actually the first person to do it. You are part of a team surveying Hisui and documenting the Pokemon that live there, and to do that, you gotta catch them. A lot of them. So you set out to fill this Pokedex, and to do that, sometimes you need to battle. Battling, like always, levels up your Pokemon. It can also hurt your Pokemon, and on excursions, this means being well supplied to heal them, which means you need to gather crafting ingredients. These ingredients can be used to make medicine, but also Pokeballs and items that make it easier to catch Pokemon. This means you get more Pokemon, which means you do more battles, which means you need more ingredients, and to top it off, the whole darn thing gives you experience points for almost every step. It's endless. Whether you're battling, collecting, or gathering, it all feeds back into helping with the other two goals. That Swiss watch feeling has returned, and the scars from Gen 1 and 2's hooks have opened back up. It's hard to describe why this is satisfying, but part of the reason it works is because it's all so seamless. Multitasking is something you will frequently do, and there's a rhythm to it. I would say that the biggest draw of Arceus is the rhythm. Movement, especially with mounts, has a fluidity to it that is wildly addictive to me. You can be cruising a river on your Basculegion, only to jump to land and suddenly you're galloping along on Weirdeer's back before taking to the skies with Braviary. It is literally the most fun I've had moving in a Pokemon game ever. Each excursion has a rhythm to it too. Set your team, set your moves, set your items, go out, catch, battle, gather, return, catalog, upgrade, craft, ad infinitum. It's classic just one more go gameplay, and I absolutely love it. And at the core, it's this rhythm, this delivery on what I imagined being in the Pokemon universe would feel like as a kid, the seamlessness of the experience, the not knowing what's over the ridge, the, oh my god, is that an Eevee? I can just catch a wild Eevee. No one told me that has got me head over heels here. I feel like Pokemon got its sense of wonder and adventure back, and while the game is clearly not perfect, the story and noble Pokemon fights are okay but feel a little bare bones, the battle system has been reworked for PvE combat and streamlined, it's still this return to the spirit of adventure and discovery in the strange and intoxicating world of Pokemon that keeps me coming back for more. For some, the graphics may be too much of a turnoff. For some, the lack of multiplayer battles and the simplified combat will equate to a pass. Some may want to see if Game Freak further develops this idea and really gives us the truly immersive Pokemon experience we still look for. Some just don't like Pokemon, fine. All I know is that the feelings that I had on that car ride back from the mall as a kid came rushing back more than 20 years later, and after a long time spent thinking about letting this series go, I can honestly say I can't wait to see what adventures are in store next.